Welcome to the Stargate Spotlight AMA. We chat with projects that have integrated with Stargate and take a deeper look into development behind it. Today we are joined with the development team from Sushi, where we'll take a look into Sushi and its latest integration, Sushi XSwap. Welcome Sarang and Primo, thanks for being here as well. How's things going today?
All good on my end. Exciting to be spending the morning with such a king like Sarang.
I think I should say the same for you actually. But yeah, it's going good so far.
Awesome. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear that. We're spoken so highly in regard there, Sarang. So well done. Maybe to start things off here, maybe just give yourself a little intro about who you are, some background, and what you're working on at Sushi.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Sarang and I work at SushiXSwap at the Solidity side and the smart contracts. So I take care of everything that involves smart contracts and like EVMs. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, nice. And what did you get into, or how did you get into Sushi, or how did you get involved with a bit of crypto, and how did you fall down this rabbit hole?
So sushi is like technically like my first job out of the college. So I was studying in the college
Mm-hmm.
and I participated in a hackathon where sushi spotted and recruited me. Actually, I was getting going for a grant for Uniswap, and that's why sushi kind of hijacked and took me. And yeah, it's been pretty good since then. So yeah, I've been with sushi for like 1.4 to 1.5 years now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you kind of got vampire attacked as well. So not only
Yeah,
liquidity, but also
that's
also
sushi
talent.
specialty.
Awesome. Yeah, so I guess like most people are super familiar with Sushi as like a DEX. But what are some of the other products in Sushi that some of the people may not be as familiar with?
Oh, sushi basically has a lot of product now. Like we call it as, going towards the actual DeFi powerhouse. Currently, we have a lending borrowing protocol, a launch pad where, you can launch your own tokens. We have a DAO management product for streaming and investing tokens. We obviously have a bunch of, like cross-chain products that we are now starting up and first out of that series is like Sushi XSwap, which is kind of like Dex but like built upon it. So we have like all these tools that we have already built is kind of crossing each other and building new products by mixing all of those. And at the heart of it we have Bento Box, which is our token vault.
Mm-hmm.
So any product that Sushi builds from now on will be built upon Bento Box, which will allow Sushi to have most capital efficient steps without adding extra complexity to our tech layer.
Yeah, and that's kind of a key feature here that I don't think that a lot of people really understand, like what the Bento Box is. And you kind of mentioned it here, where you can build on top of it and whatnot. But it's so essentially like it's kind of like as you say, a gas efficient vault. But how can like people can actually be putting their assets are there and they're actually getting utilized, and there's like cheaper gas and everything for them to use within the Sushi app. Is that kind of a good way of putting it?
Yeah, plus the advantage, it's like it's like a savings account. So whenever you put any money in an app built upon Bento Box, the underlying capital goes into strategies which earns you yield. So just like in banks, right? Like when you put your money in the bank, you can use it elsewhere, but the money in the bank also earn yield. At least from I'm from India, so we are all we have always enjoyed like 5 to 6% of yield on our bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that not might be like that might be high for some countries, but it has been normal for us before even DeFi. So I'm kind of very accustomed to that infrastructure where you build apps on directly on top of banking infrastructure, and then banks use those capital to deploy in different kind of strategies, such as giving out loans, mutual funds, index funds, and the user gets benefit out of it because they get the benefit of using the app plus the underlying amount which is in the bank accounts.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. So I guess like as Sushi has been one of the first innovators to be on several different networks. What features about Stargate made this seem like it was going to be a great fit?
Yeah, I mean, like first one of the to start off with, it was like the number of chains Target was on, which was very good. Like it was on 7 chains, which was half of where Sushi was actually deployed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were covering all the good chains that we wanted. Not saying that the other chains are not good, but the chains which had significant volume for Sushi.
Mm-hmm.
So starting from Arbitrum, we are at like top 3 or top 4 in Arbitrum, Ethereum, Optimism, where we had recently launched Trident, which is a next generation of AMM powered by Bento Box, Polygon, and even our analytics reflect that the networks that Sushi is popular on, we have significantly got higher cross-chain traffic there. The other thing that we wanted to have is a support of bridge and call. So we do have seen other cross-chain swaps before, but what they lack is like a good user experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you have to do a cross-chain swap, either wait on the UI for a bit to do the second one, or use a gelato or like a chain link keeper to kind of do the transaction on the destination, which is not the most secure and the optimal way. But with Stargate and Layer Zero combined, we got a way to do it in a fashion that is much more user friendly, where user just thinks that he's doing like a one swap, and he actually does, where the other swap is taken care by the data that we pass inside the payload, and the swap happens, and the user receives the token that they want on the other chain, and everything is like seamless because the user just clicks that ugly MetaMask pop-up once.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, like that. That experience for the user experience is pretty crucial, because that's where most people are dealing or seeing how this operates rather than what's going on under the hood per se. But yeah, that's so far I've been pretty pleased with it. I guess this one kind of goes out to Primo here, but with the cross-chain swap, it was obviously something that you had prototyped and demoed a long time ago. How does this current implementation look in comparison to the early ideas you had around all this?
Yeah. I mean, I think again, this was one of like the very earliest things. I think it was the first thing we wrote about in the white paper, back well over a year ago when we were first writing it, and then this was the kind of initial demo that we released that I think really like made it more viscerally real for most people. So obviously I've been super excited about this use case forever. I think this is kind of exactly what we were envisioning when we first did it, is the way to sort of solve for a bunch of these broad problems, like general terrible UX between these chains, or like users who are trying to do things across ecosystems, especially when that was way more abundant, right? Go back, rewind 6 months ago or 12 months ago, and everybody was just spending all their time jumping between chains. These pain points were like very, very, very front of mind. And, that will sort of wax and wane how much that movement happens. But I think the difference of the next time that's happening in UX is going to be night and day. So no, super excited.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, it's the whole UX thing is pretty fantastic, and of course, even just on the Sushi side, like I absolutely love the UI as well with it. It's so super clean, and yeah, that experience of going between networks with whatever asset that we have on Sushi is like pretty sweet. The other thing too is like you're actually dealing with the liquidity of Sushi. So that's one other thing that I really like, is so rather than having to like batch all of the liquidity together into one into one protocol or one system, we can like leverage the liquidity from both sides. So yeah, and I think that was kind of what you were alluding to there as well, Sarang, with like how just with like being on different networks and the ones that were actually supportive and had lots of liquidity and lots of volume across. So, yeah. So once you started building out Sushi XSwap, how did you find the development process with going, building on top of Stargate and even on Layer 0 as well? How did you feel about that on the development side? And just like what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was pretty good. So we actually did not start with Sushi XSwap at the first. We started with, like transferring funds inside Bento Box from like one Bento Box in one chain to another Bento Box in another chain. Obviously, that's not possible with XSwap as well. But before that, I had this personal issue with Sushi that it's very difficult to commute between like different bento box across all these chains. So I personally wanted like a solution, and that's when I first started to play around with Stargate and Layer Zero. And like, and from day one, like I was in like, I think it was like just 10-20 minutes from reading the docs, I could get a contract which was able to do this. So it was like pretty good experience. And since then, like there were like some other complexities when you deal with swaps that we had to handle on our end. But for Target, because they had this router which makes it very easy for us to integrate, where we just send the required data and the payload that we want the Stargate or the Layer Zero to execute on the destination chain, and they take care of everything. What's also good is like generally in this case it becomes complex of how do we calculate fee, and like different kind of mechanism that goes into the place. And Stargate had like direct contract calls for like fees, and different types of like how much source gas fee that we would pay. So it became easy at the integration side on the front end as well to just do a call, get all that, and just pass it into the contracts, and it just take care of it. Yeah, it was purely a bliss to kind of develop on top of it.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because like, yeah, we don't always take that into consideration of like the gas costs is that things have to go across chain, and like what, paying for that up front as well was like one of the cool features that is nice, rather than having to like have source gas and everything on the other chain. So yeah, I really like that aspect of what's going on here with Stargate, and being able to wrap that all together here in into the Sushi UI and UX is pretty sweet. And again, if there's any questions that people have, please bring them up through, there's the AMA text questions, and it's obviously aggregating through Discord and YouTube and everything here. So if you do have questions, feel free to do that. And if you are in Twitter Spaces, do feel free to raise your hand or ask to speak if you've got questions, and we should be able to get you in over there. But if we see anything coming from text here, I'll be happy to read it out, and we can ask Sarang or Primo to answer for you. But yeah, again, with back to like kind of with the sushi side of things, as Sushi's has like a wide amount of products, like what other possibilities do you see, or they could be built upon through Stargate and Layer Zero? If there's some other things that this could unlock for Sushi.
Oh yeah, we have already started doing that. So as we transition to Sushi 2.0 UI, so the current XSwap are in the Sushi 2.0 UI, right? Where you would see like a different version of Swapper, and you get an option to select chains and stuff like that. So we are moving our entire stack of miso, kashi, limit orders, and everything from the Sushi 1.0 UI to Sushi 2.0 UI. Sushi 2.0 UI is a bit special because it's going to change how people develop apps. So it's going to have like a multi-chain view first. So what do I mean by that is like when you go on Kashi, which is a lending and borrowing protocol, you see that like let's say you are on Ethereum, you see all the markets from Ethereum, where you can provide your capital to. You switch to Polygon, you switch to Optimism, Arbitrum to like look at different markets, and where you can provide. In the multi-chain UI, you would see all those chains markets on like a single page, right? So for you, when you open like say sushi.com/lend, you would see all the markets across all the chains Sushi is deployed on at a single page, and you can just like sort APR. Let's say you are on Ethereum right now, you have your funds on Ethereum, and you sort the APR, and the highest APR for like say USDC is on Arbitrum, right? So what would Sushi UI enable you to do is with Sushi XSwap is you can click that, and you can like select from which chain you want your funds to be used, and that's it. And you just click on invest. It would automatically go bridge the funds, invest inside Kashi. The same way is gonna happen when you're gonna LP. So it's gonna allow you to transfer your LP position from one chain to another, LP into pools from one chain to another, from like one chain to a different chain. To start with, we're going to allow like one single chain, but going forward in the future you can do it in a batch operation where you have like if your funds are distributed in multiple chains, you can select all that fund and what amount, and even in different tokens. So let's say if you want to LP into a USDC market, but you have ETH, right? Because we have Sushi XSwap, it automatically converts everything and directly puts in the capital. So you just have to select the asset, the amount, the chain that you want the capital to come from, and that's it. You click on invest,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's gonna happen on all the Sushi products. So like say for Furo, right, which is a streaming investing protocol, right now if I have to take my salary, I can only take it on like say Ethereum, right? But going forward, if I want it on Optimism, with one click, it basically takes out my salary and bridges it to Optimism via Stargate, and then I get my money. And that too, I can swap in between as well to any other token I want. So the entire experience is kind of coming to a one-click approach where people are, directly, where the apps have directly integrated with this bridging infrastructure, and people don't actually see that. So in fact, to give you an example, right, we are seeing a lot of swaps which are just USDC based, right? Let's say USDC on like both sides, which is crucial to us because people are coming to our UI just to do the USDC as well, which they could have gone to other bridge UIs to do it, but because they're finding it, because they are at Sushi and they're finding it easy to do from that, it basically makes sense to activate this on all our products and make this multi-chain UI to all, like what we call a Sushi 2.0 de facto way of how apps would function in the future.
Yeah, that is super cool to hear that the user experience is not even gonna, you don't even have to move across. You're just gonna be able to offer it right from the UI, just being able to like get over to another yield opportunity, or be able to LP like you were saying, just like making it so easy. That's yeah.
We are also planning to kind of like make it like gasless in a way that if your funds are in like say Bento Box, you could technically, or if you have let's say approved Bento Box, right, you could basically bridge with not even having a source token. So you
Oh,
probably
wow.
do not need the source or not the destination token. But like this is still in works and we are testing it out. But we probably might roll out after the Sushi 2.0 that you neither have to have source, destination, and you can have like a complete flow of transferring funds without having anything.
So you're saying, not having to have like native gas
It's
or
like
destination
gasless
gas.
transactions, but
Wow.
also
Hey.
supporting cross.
Yeah, that
So it's
would.
like imagine a wallet where you only have USDC in the wallet. You don't need to
Yeah.
think about gas. First of all, love that idea. Have thought about this a bunch. So I think it's super, super cool to see something do. Like we've had tons of internal discussions on this. Also, I just want to say I'm gonna keep in the background here. I've basically just been being Sarang's intern here and just taking notes on Twitter. So I'll let him keep dropping alpha, and I'm just tweeting it all out. So that was epic.
Yeah, amazing, strong. Yeah, and just like super cool to hear, like you were saying here, just with this gasless aspect and being able to have like access opportunities or access other networks right from your own network. So you almost have to, you're not worried about where you are essentially on what network you're on. You could just be anywhere essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then with the Furo aspect, you were saying, so if a Furo stream was started on, let's say, Arbitrum, but you wanted to receive it on Optimism, just that's kind of like the idea here, is that you would be able to say, hey, I want to withdraw my funds to Optimism because that's where I like to operate, or any other chain, or maybe you wanted it back on mainnet. So you would be able to essentially withdraw from that stream that's on whatever network and to a totally different network, and that wouldn't matter.
Yep, that's correct.
Wow. that's
I mean, that's actually like live from the contract side. We're gonna switch it out from the UI very soon. It also had a component of Tornado Cash where you can LP into, like you can just put the funds into Tornado Cash. I'm not sure if that's a lot useful after today's news, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, well, it's for some people maybe they're still into that, but anyways, also just it's cool just to see that there's these types of thoughts and integrations, just options that are available for everyone to to try and like to use within the UI. And thankful that like this technology has been super supportive, or like is able to help with all this. So very cool.
And we had also considered a possibility of changing how our XSushi works. We're calling it like XX Sushi, but like I'm generally banned for naming stuff at sushi, so probably like marketing and the BD folks will come with a better name. But the XX Sushi stand for like cross X Sushi, which would allow. So this was not via Stargate, but more with the layer 0 part, where it could allow so it works like how you have your OFT tokens, right? So it's very similar to that, and you could like bridge Sushi from like one place to from like, I generally like to call it like teleport. So even if you like see the initial implementation of a bento, it's all teleport, because then I don't know, I just like that for word, it's more magical. So you can like
Teleport? Yeah.
teleport your X sushi from one chain to the other chain. And then we have like, some kind of auction mechanism to make sushi more decentralized, and you can do that. So we sushi has like a good focus on using cross chain, and like how do we enable that in our future products. So with Sushi XSwap and other products, obviously like Sushi XSwap went through the proper governance process, and it had like a good traction from the start. So it was an absolute win for us to do that as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And I remember seeing the XX sushi on the forum as well, as you were just kind of like hashing out that idea and what it could look like. But yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously it would be amazing to have sushi be able to move across, or teleport as you like to call it. I think we're using traverse was also one of the technical terms that was being used. But
One too.
yeah, either way, it's that's cool. That's something that you're thinking about, and that again, this technology has been able to help with. Okay, we had a couple of questions here about the volume. Yeah, that volume, I think that was from Flipside, and they had just integrated it recently, so I don't know if it's captured absolutely everything. And I think they have to like manually
Not
update some.
complete, and it's not updated. But right now it sits at like 509, but it's way more than that.
Okay.
Like the actual value is way more than that.
Okay. Cool.
509K by the way. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll work on that more, because that would be something that's really cool to see, is to have that like a full dashboard of like what that actual volume is. I know I'd kind of asked Flipside for that, and they whipped something together here. So at least it's working. It's starting to integrate here. But glad to hear that it's it's a bit higher, and yeah, looking forward to seeing more and more volume come across here. Okay. Yeah. How would gasless transactions work under the hood? Would it be a pool of sushi tokens across all available networks? I don't know if you want to maybe dive into. I guess it's more utilizing the Bento Box, I think, is kind of where the gasless.
Yep. So I mean, like we actually have gas lists for swaps. So when you go to our limit order and put a swap below the market price, you can execute it gasless. But obviously, that's not the best way out. To implement gasless operations. So we don't want to call them like just gasless swaps. We want to call them gasless operations, because technically, if you want to move things around, right, it's completely gasless. If you want to move your LP, move your Kashi position from like one USDC market on one chain to another USDC market on another chain, or maybe like swap in between. So all these are like gasless operations. The way it would work will be that Sushi would take, or like, so this again, like this platform will be decentralized again, that the relay would take in fee from the between the transaction as the cost of doing this operation, and will pay for you in that behalf. With Bento Box, we can actually do that, and you only need to give your signature to the Bento Box and a token approval. And in most cases where like tokens like USDC and USDT, with where you already have token approvals, like via signatures, you don't have to do an approval transaction. So you can basically sign two signatures and can actually send, let's say, 100 USDC to somebody in a gasless fashion, and there will be a fee which will be taken in USDC during the transaction itself. So let's say if you want to send like 100 USDC and 2 USDC is the fee, the recipient would get 98 USDC.
Nice. Yeah, I see that they've responded very cool. So yeah, that's a super cool feature. And like Primo had mentioned here, this chats about that. They've been chatting about that internally as well. So like, pretty cool to see that this is this is something that is now a possibility, and is being thought of, because there's a lot of people that just don't realize they need native gas or source gas, or to actually operate within the ecosystem. So very cool.
And even if you do need the gas, because Stargate gives us an option to receive the dust gas on the chain. Sushi has it in the contracts. We're going to switch it on the UI as well very soon. We were just finalizing how the UX flow would look like for the user. And user can select, like request some amount of dust gas, which, will be, provided by the Stargate in the transaction itself. So they would receive their bridge tokens plus the destination, like dust gas as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that was one thing that we'd be brought in with Stargate, and then be able to access that from the Sushi UI would be incredible. It's nice to be able to
Oh yeah,
drop your.
we're gonna have that really soon now.
Yeah, like if you're wanting to go to a new chain and you've never been there before, being able to like swap whatever assets that you wanted over there and be able to drop yourself native gas, like that's so that you've got enough to perform. And we get to some of these other networks, it's like you don't even need to send that much, and you have like hundreds of transactions. Some cheaper chains like Polygon or Optimism, even AVAX. Like there's you don't have to send too much, where you can actually operate for a long time on those things.
Yeah, and the UI, our UI would be like a smart UI. So it sees, right, like, hey, if you don't have like destination tokens on the other side, it will automatically suggest you to add some top up, and you can like select like request some top up, and then like we send that to Stargate router, and it does all the magic in the backend and sends user the bridge token as well as the dust amount. So it doesn't
Perfect.
allow users to do it every time, doesn't complicate UI. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, what have we got? I said, could this unlock liquidity across all chains? So Sushi would not really need to incentivize LPs on other chains, really just stablecoins and STG for swapping. I guess when it comes to the liquidity and incentivizing LPs, I think you'll still need to incentivize LPs on some chains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, like, there is this common misconception, right, that between like the cross-chain swaps and a cross-chain DEX, right? A cross-chain DEX is where you have like liquidity from all chains in one accounting system. The cross-chain swaps are, like the accounting is still different, but you can swap, you can like, go about from one asset to another asset via some intermediate mode swaps. So Sushi XSwap is like cross-chain swapping where, it doesn't basically account for liquidity in all chains together. It does it individually in each chains and then uses Stargate to bridge tokens in between. So it doesn't changes how Sushi is structured. We still have to incentivize different pairs on different networks. Each network should have their own market, and like how we have different market for Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism. For Sushi, that's gonna be the same for now. And you can use Sushi XSwap to like easily experience bridging with a cross-chain fashion where you can select different assets. It doesn't give you an experience where the entire liquidity of Ethereum, Arbitrum are taken in place together as one. They're still fragmented.
okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I don't know. We're
Yeah, maybe in future cross-chain Sushi decks. Who knows? Not telling you're doing it, not denying it as well, but yeah, who knows?
And again, are there plans to acquire more growth to the Sushi XSwap protocol? I mean, yeah, just any thoughts and ideas around further adoption here? I guess, like, obviously, once people start realizing how awesome it is and what, especially with the gasless swapness or gasless swap nature. Yeah, but
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the more adoption would automatically start coming in when we move more towards a Sushi 2.0 UI. We have been hammering props to UI dev Ramin and Matt for that, where we are basically migrating all the old components to the newer UI. At Sushi, we've built so much that we kind of keep getting that technical depth whenever we have to innovate something on a product level that touches all the products, right? So once we migrate to the new one, you could basically, let's say if you want to provide, like right now, Ethereum, there's one pair in Ethereum Kashi which has like 600 to 700% in APR, right? And let's say if you're an Arbitrum and you want LP into that, you would be using Sushi X Swap in the background from the UI. You just wouldn't know it, right? So that's what the experience we want, right? We want users to know less and enjoy more. So they can just select like, hey, they want to LP into this, they want to provide capital into this market, and they want to do it from this token and at this network, and they just like, yeah, let's do it, go. And like they just wait for like a minute or so depending on the chain, and there you could basically see the like the capital on the other side. In fact, like there's a new protocol Radiant which is launched, and their first version looks something like this. So we're gonna also instantly have that.
Awesome. Well, it sounds
Basically, like, and borrow money from anywhere you want.
very cool. Very cool. All right. If there's any final questions, yeah, feel free to either put your hand up. We can come get you up on stage, or just ask them in here from from the text questions. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there was a cryptic tweet that hasn't been sent, or it hasn't slept since. Yeah, I don't know, Primo. I think there was a tweet that went out a little while ago that was a funny looking picture that people weren't able to really decipher. I don't know if you can.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Huh.
What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to blame the intern? Is that the new meta right now? We'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of things rolling out over the next little while. Possibly some more also cryptic things happening at some point. But yeah, we'll see a bunch of things coming soon enough.
So just stay tuned, everybody.
What's that? Try to figure that out.
Well, just stay tuned, everyone. Lots of it's so great to see so much development happening here. Like, even just being able to see Sushi, the Sushi XSwap working and actually live. It was incredible watching you at the at ETHCC, where you're like, all right, let's just here's like we're gonna do this live now, and it went live like 20 minutes before or something, and it was incredible to see that happen. And people were like, what is this on testnet? And they're like, no, this is live. This is happening. This is accessible now. So I think a lot of people are pretty stoked on this, and to be able to see that the building and integration for this is possible. The Stargate Layer 0 team has been extremely supportive and wants to be able to help as much as possible. So if anybody here listening in is thinking about doing any kind of cross-chain or omni-chain type development, feel free to reach out to us in Discord, or on Twitter, Telegram as well. Obviously, we want to see as much development and use case as possible, and hoping that there's like a really great technical solution here for all of this. So it's great to see there is more and more people that are projects that are building on top, but just really looking forward to a lot of rollouts. So. With that, Sarang, if you got any last comments, questions, concerns, and then Primo, if you've got anything after that.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, really shout out to Primo and the entire Stargate and Layer 0 team. They were like kind of really, really helpful, and they kept up with my annoying questions on how some of the things work. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah, nothing from my end. Just super excited. Obviously, anytime you get to spend time with someone like Sarang, who just ships, right? I think I posted the tweet as soon as he said it, but just like, oh yeah, like I was just in there playing around for like 10 to 20 minutes, and then I was like building the exact thing I wanted. So just having people who are like just like conditioned to ship code and really build stuff are always just the best. Those are literally my favorite people in the world. So it's been super fun to see what other cool things can be built, and just pumped to be doing it.
Wicked. All right. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap it up there, folks. Again, thanks for coming on here, Sarang and Primo, for talking this all through here and letting everybody know kind of more on the development side as well. And this has been recorded and is live streaming to YouTube right now. So this will be available for follow-up if you missed it. If you are on YouTube, please smash that like button and subscribe. And we'll stay tuned with further updates. Of course, you can find Sarang over in the Sushi Discord. Of course, glad if you're over in Twitter Spaces right now, hop over into, be sure you've joined the Discord and, speak with the community there and get involved that way. But thanks everybody for coming out. And those of you who are over in Discord, we'll have a POAP for you. I'm not sure if it's come in just yet, but we'll have you recorded if you've been in for 15 minutes or more. But okay, Thanks, everybody, and we'll chat with you very soon. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Same. See ya.